indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing if you would. Lord, we thank you for another day that you've given us, for watching over us, Lord, for guiding our actions, guiding our thoughts, guiding our meetings, Lord. We ask that you would be with us through this meeting, that you would help us to see the needs of this community and to do our best to apply those resources which you have placed in our hands to meet those needs to the best, in the best interest of each person who is a constituent. We ask now that you go with us through the rest of this meeting, that you would bless each person who's come out to be a part and give them safe traveling privileges home. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
We'd like to welcome our guests here this evening. And to the council, you have the agenda there before you. Once you've had an opportunity to look at it, if anyone has any additions or deletions, I should point out that Councilman Bobby Tanner called me earlier and said he could not make it this evening, so we'll proceed that we have a quorum. We'll proceed with that. When you're satisfied with the agenda, a motion to approve will be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by
as
Greg,
written.
second by Leo. All right, those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. You have the minutes again that Sean has prepared and has previously distributed. And you're satisfied with those, if there are additions, corrections, deletions, or that sort of thing, I'll take a motion to approve those as well. Sorry about that. Things that just ring at me every now and then.
And I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as
Motion by Greg,
today.
someone in there, second by Michelle. Again, those in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. The motion. Minutes are approved. The treasurer's report has also been previously furnished. If anyone has questions, this would be the time to ask those. Comments? And again, if there are none, a motion to approve the treasurer's report is filed.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion by Leo, is there a second? Second by Joe. Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor raise your right hand. Those opposed, same sign. That motion carries as well. Moving on to new business, you have the law enforcement report. Of course, no action is required on it, but it's there for information purposes for you to take a look at. I do want to take just a moment to commend the sheriff for the number of deputies that I have seen around, and I keep seeing lots of them. I don't know how y'all see them or not, but they're making their presence known in Crittenden. I'd like to see them 3 times as much, but still, I like what I'm seeing so far.
Lots of young ones.
Yes.
And Leo, I know we're just talking also about KSP units. We've seen several. That,
We have. You're right.
They're out there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're running radar or whatever, but they were there for a long time. So.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't need a motion on that. You also have the fire department report, and you have the chief sitting over here. If you have a question on that, and if you want to take that in conjunction with the ambulance district report, you can read on about both of them. Whichever one you'd rather do.
Looks like May was a good month.
Bad month for motor vehicle collisions.
I was thinking, maybe I
Way
could
up.
offer an explanation on why there were so many deputies.
Probably right.
You think they're all working, huh?
Working the accidents.
You also see the treasurer's report he's furnished for May and June for the ambulance district. These documents are available if anybody else wants to take a look at them. They're here. And on the street project updates, I was going to report to you the start date. To my knowledge, it is still the 15th. Is that your knowledge?
For the contract, yeah.
For the contract. I talked to Jacob today. He was told by Riegler that they had construction meeting today. They were signing four people, I don't know what you call them nowadays, you can call them foreman, can't you? They were signing 4 people to their various construction projects. They said they would let him know tomorrow, more information on it, so when I get it, I can pass it on to you all. But all I know now is the contract start date is the 15th.
Logan's still our rep.
Pardon?
Logan is still our rep.
Actually, Jacob has been pretty much our, the answer is yes, he's our licensed person, but Jacob has actually been the guy on the ground.
We've got a start date. Do we have a
Completion date?
Well, not only completion date, but also a order of work?
At this moment, not yet.
Okay.
No,
Well,
we're
that would be
supposed to
something
be
that would
getting
be
that.
good to be able to have that and post that, so.
We're also supposed to be getting a meeting date for the folks on local. So
Okay.
when I get that, I'll pass it around too.
Yeah.
The Oakwood date for the contract was July 15th, but the rehab date is 6/15. So in the past, they always mill the one road first, so that's going to be Claiborne being milled, and then the asphalt will come later on.
So we're thinking, and I've discussed that with him today, he's thinking that's the way it's going to be, but they haven't confirmed that.
Yeah, I just think that if we had a prioritized list as far as when those are going to be and kind of lay those out, we can put that out to the community as-
Right.
as far as,
They should
again,
put signs up
do
too,
That
that.
sort of thing.
Give them a ballpark anyway.
Okay, under old business, ordinance number 317-2023, again, I'll read it by title. It's an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Crittenden, and rather than read it, I'll simply point out that its purpose is to remove what was there previously, which allowed for the possibility of incarceration for a violation. By removing it, that allows the city to enforce it through the mechanism of its own board without having to take it to district court. So that's the purpose of the ordinance, is simply to remove that, to make it possible that we can do our own enforcement action. This is the second reading. Anybody cares to read through it, I'll be glad to pass it around. You have a copy, I think, but yes.
Yep.
But if there are no questions on it, then this being the second reading, I need a motion to approve. And then a second.
Make a
Motion by Michelle, is there a second? Second by Leo, is there discussion? Questions? Hearing none?
I'm going to change.
But this is just getting in line with the state, right, or something?
Actually, what it does
Does
is
it change that?
It used, it's home rule has allowed now cities
Okay, yeah.
to do their own enforcement action as long as there's not the possibility of incarceration. So in order to comply with home rule, all it's doing is
That's what-
taking out the time. All right,
I think
everybody ready to
so.
vote?
Yes.
Those in favor, you'll call the roll since it is an ordinance.
Yes, Mrs. Bowman,
Yes.
Mrs. Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Duzy,
Yes.
Mr. Livingood,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Saylor,
Yes.
motion carried.
The other matter that's on our old business is the employees handbook. That was sent around Tuesday, I believe it was. I think it was Tuesday. Everybody should have received a copy of it by now. I hope everybody's had an opportunity to read through it. Are there questions, comments, concerns? Now, understand, that is yours. So that's up to you all to establish the policies that you wish to be followed. If you're good with this one, that's fine. If you have questions, concerns, additions, whatever you want to do, now'd be the time to make that known. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you to approve it. And once it's approved, we will get rid of, how many pieces of personnel policies do we have? 2, 3 in the office?
Different types?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, one we go by, one was attempted at approval back in 19, but it's still, yeah.
In any event, we don't really have a comprehensive policy at this point, and that's what we're attempting to establish, is to get one that everybody can work off the same page. So, the floor is open for a motion, then second, and then discussion. So is there a motion to adopt the handbook as distributed? Motion by Greg, second. Second by Joe, discussion.
The only thing I had, so we're talking about all of the policies. Usually there are policies that are backed up by a handbook, and it's a summary of everything to go back to the policies for, we're talking about removing all of that, and the handbook will be the main, okay. Because again, there were things in there in regard to, again, travel and expenses and all those things that I had been looking at for a lot of times, that kind of how they tag back into the policies and things that were in hand. So again, the handbook will be our SOP for moving forward to cover any of those topics that are listed in the handbook.
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, we also have the job descriptions, which are being worked on now. We've got through 6 of them.
Yes.
4 of them so far.
There's still 2 more to do, I think.
When we get those completed, we'll pass those around as well, but we're almost done with those. So again.
And they also will be added back into those slots in the handbook, and that will be
That will become a part of.
full-time, part-time, seasonal, okay.
We'll have people to
Yep.
sign off on those and, say if they've read them, they're aware of them and that sort of thing.
As far as there was a section in there about work after hours, like where
Yes.
somebody would get called back. Does that happen very often, or?
No, as a matter of fact, I can recall it myself, now I know it's happened before, but I can recall it myself once, and that had to do with snow. That's the only time I can remember it happening. Now, of course,
I wasn't here in 2012 with tornado. I know that was
well, that was a biggie, and
Yeah.
I think Chief can attest to that one.
Everybody
Everybody
was,
was on deck then, but yes, that it almost never happens.
And then, but it said like normal compensation, but I'm assuming overtime would apply if somebody had worked
Yes,
over 40
you'll
hours.
notice that there are no, everybody in there is
Non-exempt.
I'm sorry,
non-exempt.
yeah,
Okay.
hourly or non-exempt employee, yes.
Joe's got something.
Well, my only comment was that it's a very robust document, and the devil's gonna be in the details of administering it.
It always
And
is.
if we put the energy level into administering it, it's gonna be a good thing. If it falls short, then that's a problem.
Well, and again, though, the part that
Yeah.
the reason I was tying it back to
Yeah.
whatever the policies are that are combined is to make it a summary. When we go to edit and make changes, updates and things of that sort, you're making it on one document. And again, what is that procedure as opposed to if we had, you're doing, updating mileage and stuff that's on, is it going back to, how will that be updated through that? Is that a regular process or?
By municipal order. No,
Okay.
it does not have to be an ordinance, because this is a document that the council
Yes,
has complete control of.
But I didn't know, like I said, if it had to come to a meeting to be able to make those changes, how are we gonna
It's by
set that?
municipal order, so it's gonna require 4 of 6.
Okay,
to
gotcha.
say yes. And only once. I mean, you don't have to do 2 readings or any of that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
It's not an ordinance, so you can update it literally meeting by meeting if you choose. So you're not tied down with this. If you see something that needs changed, municipal order does.
No, that's what I wanted to hear.
To Greg's point though, and maybe it's what he was saying, but I didn't understand. The legacy documents need to be maintained, starting forward with the new documents, but the legacy documents can't be trashed.
Well, and again, and what's happened to me in the past is the handbook is just a summation. And again, that's something that you give to new employees as they come on board. But all of the regular policy stuff that referred to in here is all back to a document someplace. But again, what I'm hearing is that we're gonna get rid of all of that. And this will be the main document that will be updated, maintained. And again, all of that back end will be destroyed or it's updated and removed. That's why I wanted to find out how we were
It
planning to
won't be
do it.
destroyed, but to my knowledge,
Archive it.
Yeah.
Well, from a legal perspective, are legacy documents subject
And
to
I'm in
discovery
archive.
from the point of implementation?
Yeah.
they are. However, I cannot find anything that says they were ever adopted. Now, I could be wrong, but I cannot find, a city, can you find them?
I have
A
not
city
researched real
speaks
well.
just as any other entity through its records. And I have looked at the records. Now, it could be that I haven't looked at every record possible. I mean, there's 8 file cabinets in here and maybe one of them's got something hidden somewhere, but I can't find anything that's
Misfiled,
actually
I'm worried
been
about.
adopted.
Things have been misfiled in the past at times, 30 years ago, if we find documents in
Yes.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking a few years ago of negative reviews and things like that.
Mhm.
Oh, well, there could have been.
If what there were.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna argue with you,
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
you're correct, but again, they may have been negatively reviewed without reference to a document.
And employee reviews and evaluations and things of that sort.
Yes.
Those are some summaries that are in that handbook that speaks specifically on what form you're gonna hand as you go through that. But again, all of the back end pieces of that will all be archived someplace or maintained separate to that, because all that is showing you, here's the structure in which we do that. And again, the reason I'm bringing this up so much is that, again, I did a lot of research on a lot of different folks, different cities that had handbooks and things that were out there that were published. And they all maintain that, again, it goes back to the records, the policies and procedures, and that are on file, and this is a summation of that, and that's the way we used to do it with federal government. So I'm just kind of curious that, how we were gonna treat all the vacuum pieces, and then everything lined up. They had a document that showed exactly what it is, so we can do the changes and updates.
We retain the records required by KRS.
Yeah.
for safety.
It has a full
So
listing
any
of all
records that
time
we do
periods.
have, we keep.
Good.
Some permits, some not.
But
Those are the only two questions I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then anytime we do a municipal order, we'll have to make sure that it gets sent out to every employee.
And it
Of any
becomes,
change.
and then this is also gonna be maintained in a digital format, so it'll be incorporated. Yes.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Good.
Everybody ready to vote?
Mhm.
Those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, motion carries. All right, that completes our old business. Now we have, who's the gentleman from Gardnersville Church that wanted to come in? You're the gentleman, all right. If you'll stand and introduce yourself to the council and tell them what you're asking for, sir.
My name's Todd Foster. I'm
Yes.
a member of Gardnersville Baptist. I live in Mount Zion area, go to church at Gardnersville. I also work at Showplace until I can learn to retire. I only work 2 days a week. But this is what I started in February. I started, it's called the Blessing Closet. I get donated goods and I take them to church. They're brand new stuff. I've got a total of 25 missions that I send them to, from anywhere from Covington, 13th Street, to New Orleans, to Honduras. So I get a lot of stuff. I usually do 4 loads a day. You'll see my pickup truck going by here. I usually pick up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I distribute it on Thursday, Friday. And they come to our church. I don't have to run around as much. It's mostly dry goods stuff, and it's just like I said, it's brand new. What I'm looking at doing, and what I kind of want some advice at doing, I'd love to put like a little blessing closet up here somewhere in town, where I can stock it with laundry soap, soup, corn, canned goods. People can bring stuff in and put it in if they want to. They can take it out if they need it. I know times is hard for people, and you get a couple cans of something, it's a blessing. I really appreciate that you prayed. I've been praying for guidance on this for a long time, and this is where I've been told to go. So my ideal, and it's only an ideal, I'd love to see it at the fire department. But I gotta ask you all, where can I put it? It'll be only a box. It'll stand on a 4x4s, 2 4x4s. It'll be 2 foot deep, 4 foot high, and 4 foot wide. 2 doors on it, the automatic close. It'll be built very nice. It won't be a shabby little shelter or anything. I'm gonna build it very nice. So I'm kinda wanting some direction from you all to see if we can put something up here. I know we have a lot of breaking ins going on here lately, and I'd like to put it somewhere where I wouldn't have to worry about it. I thought about the park, but we have problems up there too. And that's what I thought about the firehouse, if that was even an option. Or if there's some other options out there. I'm open to anything. It's all in the planning stage.
I'm not gonna ask you all to have to make a decision tonight, because I know this is the first time you've heard of it.
Yeah, no.
No, I know, so I just explained to them, but if you wanna sit on this a while, think about it, talk to other people, see something like that, that's fine too. Or if you have an idea that you can give this gentleman as to some way, some direction he might take, and you've got the chief sitting right back here listening to you, in case he has some ideas too, because he's out and about the community. But if you all have questions for this gentleman while he's here, or if you want to take some time to think about this and then get back to us, we can communicate with Mr. Foster. So anybody with questions or anything?
So we're talking about an exterior box at a location with good lighting that's easy access.
That'd be ideal. That would be great. And I would stock it quite often.
So people will just come and take what they want or need and
Take
then,
what they need,
okay,
not what you want.
Yeah.
What you need. I've learned that word.
yeah.
Do you want me to put my phone number down here if anybody?
I'd like for you to leave
Yes,
it with our
please.
clerk if you
If you don't
would,
mind.
before you leave.
Leave it there, I'll get it, if you don't
Okay.
care,
Yeah.
it'd be wonderful.
Anybody else have questions for?
Well, 2 comments, and both of them are in the form of a suggestion, because I was involved doing some of what you're doing a few years ago through some other nonprofits, through Helping Hands and Hope.
Yep.
I'm assuming the Baptist Association in Williamstown knows about what you're doing? Okay. So leveraging Paul Mann's legacy here in Crittenden, I think would be a good thing as far as food goes.
Right.
Okay, and the other thing, there's a ministerial association that meets at Lighthouse the first Monday of the month. And I can give you the contact, but there's about 15 ministers from different denominations that try to do good stuff for the county. And I think they need to know what you're doing, because both Helping Hands is temporarily out of business with the wind damage they had, and Hope's really out of business, lost the lease on their building. So you could be, what you're doing could be a good Band-Aid, but in coordination with them.
Yeah. Now, I do work with Revive, I do work with the Worship Center.
Yeah.
And I know Paul Mann does this over here, which it's food, and I don't think it'll conflict, I think it'll enhance it, because this is good, you know, this is dry goods. not
As
really-
far as that ministerial association,
Uh-huh.
the two most active and the biggest bang for your buck and effort is Family Worship Center,
Yeah.
three, Family Worship Center, First Love, and Revive.
I've been with all three of them.
Okay,
I'm there.
peace.
No, I'm working with First Love, and I
Yeah.
just took some stuff
Yeah.
to Revive today.
You got
in
it
the Worship
going.
Center. Yeah. I tell you, it's amazing what God has done here. Absolutely. I'm glad you prayed. I was so happy for that, but I won't keep you.
Any other questions for the gentleman?
None fun stuff.
Chief, anything? Okay, thank you.
All right,
We'll get back
thank
to
you.
Anyone else have anything they want to bring before council this evening? I know Jamie's here. Jamie, I'm gonna get you in just a minute. Yes?
Jamie.
Okay, come on, Jamie.
She's got her hands
Real,
full. like-
real quick, I apologize for not making it here earlier. It has been a crazy, crazy time with events, so I'm not gonna keep you, but I will give you an update on what we've been working on, Sean. I think, yes.
Oh, you did this in an email already. You sent me an email, most of us.
Yes.
There's an email? Okay.
But just a couple highlights, it's event season for tourism, and one of the things that made me a few minutes late was I was following a travel trailer down 25 with Oklahoma tags that went to the Northern Kentucky RV Park, so we're seeing a lot of that, obviously, a lot of visitors, and so we're trying to do things in the community to give them things to do to keep them here for longer than just a day or two to see the art. One of those things is the flyer that you've been given is the Southern Summer Jam, which is a mouthful. But it's gonna be this weekend at the Northern Kentucky Fairgrounds, which is for all of us who live around here, Grant County Fairgrounds, but it's technically Northern Kentucky Fairgrounds. We've got music all day long, we've got inflatables for the kids, food trucks. We really want to grow this event into maybe a 3-day event eventually, that people are coming and camping and they're going, oh, by the way, there's an ark over there and I had no idea. So we're trying to do a lot of things like that. Please come out and support it. One of the things that's discouraging is the people always say there's nothing to do, and then people don't come out and support it, which is very frustrating when you're in event planning. But we've got a good, Jamie Shelburne is a Central Kentucky native, national recording artist, and he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. So very family friendly, so we thought we would be good working with him. We just wrapped up the US 25 yard sale a couple weekends ago, and we had 55 vendors. The most we've ever had down there at the park is 40. We turned 5 away. So we're gonna meet with the parks folks to reconfigure where we're setting up, how we're doing it, because if the demand is there, and everybody seemed happy, we had good traffic flow, we had no issues that I'm aware of. I always tell people when they say, well, can I leave my stuff down there? I said, you're doing it at your own risk, but knock on wood, we've never had an issue with people stealing or destroying things, so that's a good thing. We've got a ribbon cutting coming up here in Crittenden on, let's see, I've got it on your list here.
It's the 10th of June.
Yes.
It's
And,
already passed, right?
No, I'm sorry, it's not June 10th, it's June 21st. What is the next Wednesday? Not next Wednesday, what is next Wednesday? I didn't change. My fingers were flying
The
too fast. Is the 19th?
Next Wednesday, well, the 21st.
Yes, 21st. I'm sorry, so mark that, change that to June 21st.
Okay, from
At
the
10
10th.
a.m., and that's at the Barnyard MMA, which is out on Violet Road. They're joining the chamber and a new business, and they're very excited young folks wanting to start a business and be active in the community, so you all are welcome to attend that. We'll bring the big scissors and ribbon, and I tell you, the big scissors are quite impressive, but they won't cut off butter, but they look great for photos. So, we're also going to have a Grant County Industrial Leadership Council meeting in July at noon at Napoleon. You all are welcome to attend that as well. I've been going to some meetings with Duke Energy on grant applications and things that are available to do different projects. One of the things that I'm going to hopefully have the Economic Development Board approve in their budget is maybe that we hire or put aside some money for a site consulting group to work with us on identifying the sites, and then how do we really get them ready for the growth that we want to come. Because as of right now, if you say to me, what's the best industrial prospect, it would be the Diverse property in Dry Ridge, but the only problem with that, which is not really a problem, they want that for their own development. So it's not really open that they are willing to sell that at this time to outside developers. So we've got to get ready as a community to say, hey, as Kentucky is benefiting from all of these electric battery places and all these other industries that are coming in, we want to be more ready for that. So I'm looking at avenues of how we get there and those kind of things. We've got several projects that are just kind of on hold due to the economy, due to a variety of reasons. And I know there was a company that had looked at some property in Crittenden, an existing company, to expand, but I think they're going back to Williamstown to do that expansion. So there's several new businesses that are coming into Grant County. That's a good sign. I still think, you know, the economy is a little shaky. You got to watch that. I know the interest rates have kind of slowed some of the growth down, but I still am very optimistic for what we're doing as far as the tourism side. We're seeing they're expecting, and they haven't released the numbers for up to this point yet, but they are believe that the number of travelers and the amount that they're spending will go back to pre-pandemic levels. So that's pretty good that we've recovered that fast in the tourism industry. We're seeing a lot of folks that are doing more driving, more local, which is good for us because we're such a good location, which is why we think the music event will do well. So that's kind of where we're at and the things we're working on, and I will come back in another couple of months and hopefully have even more good stuff to tell you about. But you can always call me and reach out. I know Jim and I have been trying to get a date on the calendar so we can meet in projects that he wants me to work on for the city. The Heritage Trail project at the park is not dead, it's just slow moving. If you've ever worked with a federal grant, it's like wading through molasses, and I just want to pull my hair out. I want to go dig dirt and be walking on a trail, but it doesn't work that way. The Indiana fruit bats are causing a few little issues down there, but we are scoping the project. It's still going to start this fall, where you're actually going to see some dirt move, but we had a meeting today and they threw out, oh, there could be an archaeological issue. So they're looking for old cemeteries and old artifacts. And I was thinking, oh, please don't tell me there's an old cemetery where we want to put the trail. But again, it's all federal. You got to jump through the hoops to get to where you're going. So we're keep slogging away, but good things are happening, and we're very busy in the office. This is always a busy time of year with events. So I just want to come and give you an update. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me or call me.
Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, thanks, David. Lance, you were about ready to jump up where you?
No, it's just a couple quick questions. I apologize. I'm now re-retired. I wish I've got a little bit more time. I was just looking back through the minutes. Where are we at on the Harvester Lake, I guess, per se? Because it says that you had designs, but I haven't seen anywhere where I could go online to see what's been proposed. I would like to think, nothing personal, I'd like to think that since it's going to be a community park, the community should have some input on what potentially could be. I know we have some money issues, but.
There was a concept plan which was developed by Kentucky League of Cities, which, to be honest with you, didn't turn out to be worth much of anything, although we did pay for that concept plan. We still have a copy. You're welcome to take it if you want it and read it. It does show you what we had in mind, or what we were initially thinking of. Right now, I spoke to Jacob, don't remember if it was today or yesterday. He was out there, I don't know if you saw anybody. doing
Yeah,
some
somebody was out there
surveying.
today, I do a little bit of surveying.
They were doing some surveying. He's getting gradients there to use to design for an initial concept design for a walking trail, a handicapped accessible fishing pier, we hope. We may still be able to get some money on, I haven't gotten in front of you, yes or no either way on that. And that's a parking area. That's about as far as we've gotten right now. Now, Jerry was telling me before the meeting that I don't know how this is gonna work, because we made it open to public, and we have JD down there picking up boatloads of trash every 2 or 3 days, and if that keeps up, we can't keep paying people to do nothing but police the lake. You know, I mean, I hope people understand that, you know, we've made it available, but when they leave their Wendy's bags and their McDonald's bags and their cups and saucers and, you know, bait cans and everything else laying around on that side of the lake, and we have a maintenance guy we're paying to do other stuff, we may have to start looking a different direction. But right now, that's what we've done. Now, we haven't made any firm plans, anybody here, other than what I've outlined to you to my knowledge so far. It's still open.
Where would be the parking just per se? Is it more towards my backyard, or is it
No.
more towards the?
No, we actually wanted it closer to St. E than the state will allow. If you'll count the power poles as you're going, after you pass St. E, it's gonna be, I believe it's the 3rd and 4th pole that they
It's
said we
almost
could
dead
get
smack
in.
in the middle.
It's almost in the middle, he's right. It's either, it's past the 3rd, they would not let us, I wanted, if you'll notice when you're at St. E, there is a curb cut already in their lot.
Right.
All right, I spoke to their property person some time ago. They were interested in perhaps participating in the walking park. I was hoping that we might also, at some point in time, look at kind of joining those, at least the part where you drive through, where the curb cut is already into that property. I haven't even approached that part with it yet. But the state will not allow us to use that as an entrance onto Violet Road. They want us to go at least down past the 3rd light or energy pole there first. So that's the proposed point right now. It's about the middle.
Okay, so you're looking, if I'm just looking going down there, so you're saying the parking will be on the St. Elizabeth side per se?
It will.
And drainage
Well,
will
that's
be
what-
taken care of and everything?
Yes, that's a part of the requirement as far as doing the cut and the whole, and the engineering and the whole thing, yes. Sure. But we'll take suggestions from anybody.
Well, like I said, I don't know of the budget, I don't know, like you could put.
There isn't one at this moment. There is not a budget. It's gonna be a progress, you know, it's gonna be a project.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we were looking at putting in pickleball courts or something, you know. Like I say, I think I said the last time I was here, if you're gonna put something, I'd rather you try something that's already not a Crittenden Park.
Exactly. Down the line, there will be changes, but as I say, this is gonna be a work in progress. It's not gonna be an event, boom, you're right. It's gonna be something that's going to evolve, we hope. Yes, sir, you had something?
I got a couple issues I'd like to ask you about.
Give me your name.
My name's Ernie Lockaby Senior.
Ernie Lockaby Senior?
Yes, sir.
Got it, Sean? Okay, yes, sir.
My first question is, did you negotiate the garbage change in the bill?
No.
I guess I don't understand why we didn't take quotes from Rumpke or other my garbage bill went up $9 a month.
Okay, let me answer your question. There is an entity in this county, it's known as the 109 Board, that is set up by law that controls everything having to do with solid waste in the county. Everything, from the way it's picked up, to the vendor, to the person who does the hauling, to everything having to do with solid waste is controlled by the 109 Board. So they tell us what we're going to do, and that's what we do.
They're charging everybody in my neighborhood, every house.
Yes,
These houses are pretty close together.
yes.
They're charging $10 to go from house to house to house.
Well, I don't know that that's true.
Well, it
I
is
can't
true.
dis-
I can tell you for a fact it's
I can't dispute that.
Okay.
But it is the same over the entire district. It's not just your house. It's everybody that is sharing in that. It's everybody doing it, not just your neighborhood.
Well, how much is a fuel charge? It's $9.99. I just rounded it off, and it's a fuel charge. They can't burn $10 worth of gas to go from my house to the next house.
Of course they can. But here's what you need to understand. We don't have anything to do about that. We can't affect that one way or the other. What I'm telling you is, the only person who can have any input in that is the 109 board, which is a county organization. It has nothing to do with the city. Nothing.
Then we'll move on to the next one.
Yep.
Can I make one comment though?
Yeah.
So the 999 charges for 3 months, by the way, the bills it's 4 times a year. So they're estimating over 3 months, it's gonna cost $9.99 per household in fuel costs. Duke Energy does it, so does Owen, I think, but they all do it, but I don't know how the math is.
We
I just
didn't
know it's
like,
3 months though.
It's $57.
Yeah,
I've
it's-
already paid, it's $57 and some change.
Yeah, for-
It went from $10.99 to $19, figure it out, $19 and some change.
we didn't like it either.
Yeah.
We didn't like it a bit. Actually, we didn't want to have to pass along that extra cost to you, to our residents, when the Grant County Solid Waste District refused to continue the billing for us. We didn't like to pass that along. We didn't have a choice.
But my next, well, I guess I'll just.
No, go ahead.
No, I just, if I ain't gonna get nowhere with it, to understand that there ain't nothing you can do, I might well move on to the next.
But I'm telling you what you can do. Go to the 109 board meeting.
I don't think it's good with the county. Me and the county don't get along very
Okay,
well. I've had my issues with the county. The city blamed it on the county blamed it on the city. So I was in a catch-22. All I kept hearing was the city caused it, the county caused it, and then finally, everybody just threw me to the side. The water comes down through my property, into his property, and all it does is takes all of our topsoil. I've put I'm gonna say as many as 27 truckloads of topsoil in my backyard because of the sidewalk up there is crooked. And it comes to, right where it comes down through the middle of our yards, that water coming down from the top of the hill there, all the way down, flows right down through my yard, to his yard, to his yard.
We've addressed that issue before.
Just on Waller
And
Drive,
that-
I guess.
yeah,
Just
That's
Lance
Waller
Waller.
Drive, I know, that's where Lance lives. We've addressed that issue before, and the water's coming off of Violet Road. That's not coming from a city street. It's coming off of Violet Road. That's where the water's diverting and going down to Waller from. And that's a state road. We can't do anything about it.
And partially to what you're saying is 100% true. But if the sidewalk wasn't bent right there where it comes to the middle of our yards, all that water wouldn't be running down our yard. It would be running on down the sidewalk to the street. If you go out there and put a level on that sidewalk, you'll see the sidewalk is tilted just like this, and that forces that water down our yard. I can promise you, it does.
Okay.
But my next problem is to comment to, you're saying those people are throwing all that paper and going off and leaving it. Well, I talked to your code enforcement guy about dogs coming up in the yard, pooping in my yard, and them going off and leaving it. I don't know, he said he was gonna mention it to you,
He did.
but he says there's no ordinance. So,
No, he brought it up with me, and I told him that unless, we can see something taking place, we can't be out there picking up people's poop. You would hope that your neighbors,
no, I'm not asking you to pick it up.
you would
I'm
hope.
asking you to put an ordinance in here that they have to pick it up.
And then we have to enforce that ordinance. And just like Joe was saying earlier, you can pass all kinds of things, but if we don't have the ability to stop people from being bad neighbors, it's not going to stop them from being bad neighbors. We can't have somebody sit there all the time, and I told Danny Martin that, he's our code enforcement officer. We can't have somebody sit there and watch somebody's dog go to the bathroom in your yard.
I don't need you to watch it, sir.
I know.
I'll watch it. When I call you up to tell you that they're pooping and leaving it in my yard, There is 10 kids in the neighborhood plays right there in my yard. 10. And these people are bringing their dog there and letting them poop right there in that yard and walking right off and leaving it.
Then call the county attorney's office and file a complaint for criminal trespass when you see that. We can't
Well,
stop that.
I don't own the building, I just rent it. I don't own it.
But if you rent it, you have a right to keep people from utilizing your property in a way that you're not permitted. If you see somebody trespassing on your property, file a complaint.
With the county attorney.
Yes, with the county attorney's office.
Take your phone out and snap a picture.
Yeah.
Pictures goes a long way.
Absolutely, or video.
I've got 100% seen them all the time. I just see her leaving. Now, I did see her once, and I asked her that did she know that there is as many as 10 kids plays right there in that area. It's in my yard. Do I really want to hear the noise of 10 kids? No. Do I want them kids out there having fun and enjoying their life? Yes. No, I really do. I'd rather just sit in there and watch my TV and not hear nobody. I mean, that's just my choice. But 2 of the kids out there playing are my great grandbabies, and I don't want them out there stepping in that poop. But I do have another camera. I have a camera that's out on my cars. I guess I can turn it to.
If you can get a picture of somebody trespassing on your property, go ask to file a complaint. Literally, honestly, I was county attorney for a long time. I got those complaints all the time. And if you have proof, you can file a complaint and prosecute that. That gets somebody's attention. The city really doesn't have enforcement authority for something like that. It has authority to enforce things like business licenses and that sort of thing, but criminal trespass is not one of the things that the city can effectively
I
police.
understand that, but I don't know of any city limits that don't have a pooper scooper law.
Well, I
I
think
don't know of any. Every one of them I've lived in before I come here to Kentucky, they had pooper scooper laws. If you didn't pick it up and somebody report, where my son lived at, it was a $100 fine.
that's what I said. Take a complaint for trespass, because they should not be allowing their dogs to go in your yard and not pick it up. That's trespassing.
Well, it ain't just a dog. She walks it over there. She's got it on
That's even worse.
Oh, yeah. Well, I called her landlord, and I
Good.
told her what she was doing, so I haven't really seen her back over there since I called.
Good.
But, the code enforcement guy, he told me he was gonna be here so we could, discuss it out, because he 100% agreed with what I was saying.
Oh, and so does everybody else. It's just the enforcement that's the problem. Yes, sir.
That's my whole question. I've heard these rumors about some code enforcement guy coming around and getting tickets and enforcing all these laws. And I've been here for 20 years, and I've never seen these laws. Where do these codes come from?
What laws are you talking about?
I don't know, take your trash up, or you get a ticket, don't park on the sidewalk. Now I'm responsible for snow. I'm hearing a whole bunch of rumors and stuff about what
Okay,
this guy's gonna do.
there are city ordinances that our code enforcement officer has been enforcing and will continue to enforce. He has not issued a citation that requires the payment of a fine yet. He's been trying to do more education than citing. And that's been.
Fine, that's not where I'm going with this.
Okay.
What I'm asking is, like I said, I've got something from 20 years ago, when I bought my house. It had Waller Drive, something about a homeowner's thing, but there wasn't one. But it had all the things, rules and regulations.
That's not what he enforces.
Right, so what I'm saying is, if you're gonna have a code enforcement guy, can we get a copy of the codes?
It's online.
Will it be online?
They're on the
online
website.
now.
It'll be
Now.
online?
It's online,
And
yeah.
Will the fines be spelled out? See, I'm not really worried about
Yeah.
me, because I get up late on Monday, I take my trash can up to the car before I leave for work. All the things my neighbors are complaining about, I haven't been hit for, probably never will. But one of them that got me was something about driving over the sidewalk.
Yes.
Am I also to understand that I'm somehow responsible for the sidewalk snow removal?
Actually, yes, but that has not been enforced. But yes, every homeowner, believe it or not, is responsible for the sidewalk in front of their residence, yes.
Because I was under the understanding that if I didn't do anything, somebody slipped, it wasn't my fault. But if I salted it, then I would be responsible.
Well, there's an argument both ways as to what is negligent and what isn't. If you attempt to do something and you do it poorly, you can be worse off than doing nothing, that's true. But again, that all comes down to a matter of comparative negligence in the state of Kentucky. That doesn't have anything to do with the code enforcement officer. All he's doing is enforcing the ordinances of the city, and those ordinances are online. Everybody can go online and read everything having to do with it.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering where the fines are coming from. Is there going to be a system for?
There is a system, and again, it's all online, setting out what the possibilities are, and once the citation issues, once he starts to issue citations that result in a fine, you will have an opportunity to challenge that, if you choose, before Code Enforcement Board, which is made up of citizens of the city, to say that you think you shouldn't be charged, you shouldn't, whatever. But it'll be that's what you just heard read earlier today, removing the criminal penalties from particular ordinances in the city, because then that allows the Code Enforcement Board to enforce the ordinances of the city without having to go to district court.
That's all I wanted clarification on.
Okay, that's good.
You know, because if the guy shows up at my house and I'm putting my trash up, like I said, it's rumors, other people complain and saying that they've had it out with him or they've argued, I'm just like.
I think you'll hear a lot of that is rumor. You know, so many times you believe about a tenth of what you hear until you see it.
On Facebook.
And again, we've had folks up here talk about that as far as the trash.
I've never been on Facebook.
With the trash can issue and stuff, again, right now, as Jim said, the code enforcement guy right now is trying to educate folks. Because again, there are people that'll leave their trash cans till next Monday. They don't have to take them in the whole, you can drive down a lot of these streets during the weekend and they're still out there. So again, we're trying to put that into play so that again, it cleans up the area for everybody. Again, that's just common sense and putting some structure behind the back end of that. And what Danny is doing now, as Jim said, is trying to educate folks. So again, a lot of people may take that personal and get on, get real defensive right away. But right now, as he said also, there's been no citations for any accountability for money and out of pocket, that type thing. But there could be. And that's what we're trying to do, is put structure in place that, again, if you have habitual people living right next to you that are doing the dog poop and stuff, things that are out there, we're trying to take a look at some of those different areas that are out there that, again, are common sense type things.
Yeah, because I'm just checking, because my neighbor's Lance.
Oh, my
He
gosh.
goes on vacation, he says, I'll take your trash out, and then he doesn't bring out the trash can, and now I'm gonna get a ticket. I'm gonna be upset with Lance.
He would probably do it on purpose.
He probably did. You should see what he did to my lawnmower.
We can pray for you, that's all we can do.
They're coming for you, Lance. They've all been there.
And a part of the problem we have with that trash can issue, and that was a big thing, believe it or not, people got bent out of shape that we asked them to pull their trash cans back to the side of their house. But what was happening was people would leave them out there for days, they'd get blown over, the papers that were in them would blow in the neighbors' yards, and then we'd start getting calls from the neighbors about, the neighbor next door letting trash get blown into their yard. So we just asked, take your trash can back, put it beside your house. Hopefully that alleviates that, and it looks better anyway for the whole neighborhood. So, a lot of these things are just common sense. If people would, most of these things are common sense. If people would just try to act halfway decent in the neighborhood, it would help everybody. Vote people like Lance out. That'll do it. Okay.
Lance goes on vacation, his garbage cans are taken off the street Monday.
I'm sure he appreciates it too.
I even have a Snapchat every Sunday to remind me to bring it out.
And whatever you do, don't believe anything you read on Facebook. I swear. I hate that.
That's not gonna happen, I'm not gonna go on it.
Okay, nothing further. Does anyone see a need for the meeting on the 28th, or would you prefer to go to the next meeting on the 11th?
I will not be here on the 28th.
Okay.
I'll be in Seattle, so.
27 for that.
Yeah.
All budget issues
Yeah.
are behind us now, right?
Budget
We've
issues.
got that approved, so that would be the only,
I'll have the end of the year closing in July, it's not on June 27th or whatever the date is.
27th.
Yeah, the closing was probably.
There's nothing to vote for on 27th, by the way.
No, there won't be anything to
no,
vote
We
on.
can find out.
let's put it off to next
So,
month.
everybody good with the 11th, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of town on the 11th is the only thing.
You'll be out on the 11th?
Go to your house.
Right, yeah, you already wrote it on your board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion to adjourn, and you can pick your date, 28 or 11. Who wants to make it?
I'll make the motion.
You have questions?
Mr. Mayor, for, yes.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Forgive me, Council.
But if you got,
I didn't want to bring this up during the fire department thing, but I do have an idea that I would like to float with the fire, with the city council.
Okay.
And just kind of get you all thinking about
if
it.
you have them to take it directly out.
We want a sign.
Check your account.
You want to sign?
We want
I have
signage
not changed.
at the fire department.
Okay.
We are having people that still do not know where the fire department is.
They can't see that big red truck?
When it's, I guess it's when it's behind the doors.
Okay.
There are people that still do not know where we are, or where the ambulance is sometimes housed. So, we've got plans that we have drawn up a couple of years back. COVID hit, a few other things. But we want to put a permanent signage close to the walk in the road. It would say the Crittenden Emergency Services Building. It would have fire, EMS, assemblage on it, as well as the city of Crittenden's logo in the middle.
You got the design already, you
We
say?
have designs. As a matter of fact, I think a couple of years ago, I sent you the info on the sign that you had requested when we kind of half talked about it. But I would like to try to move forward with that sometime in the near future.
If you can get dimensions, we're gonna have to also run it by District 6. So if you can get dimensions and send to us, what's everybody's
Can
thoughts
you get
about
that
it?
email still?
Do it.
I'm sorry,
Do you
sir?
still have an email somewhere?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you resend it?
It would be a marquee type sign with the letters that you put in announcing local events, burn bans, CPR classes, etc.
Are we talking about putting this to the road or by the building?
No, to the road.
Okay,
We'll take care of the building,
okay.
but the signage has to be approved since you all own the property, be close to the roadway.
And we'll have to get the highway department to allow us to put it there someplace.
Yes, sir.
So we can run it by them.
It would be LED, solar lit. So, solar panel. There would be, we've got,
You have some cost estimates with it?
right now, the one that we have is that the marquee lettering without the overhead is about $4,500.
What's marquee mean?
The marquee is, it's lit up. You put the letters on the board, and then you can close it up.
Like the school?
Like,
Churches.
next door, our church.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
very much like that.
Okay.
Set between metal poles on a stone and concrete pedestal. Try to make it stylish, and again, solar powered, LED light, timed. We're not wanting to go real expensive on it.
But the $4,500 includes the sign, the installation, the
Nope,
foundation?
That's the signage itself. The installation would probably be done by the firefighters.
Okay, what
We'll
about,
lay the stone and pour the concrete.
okay, the foundation and the whole deal?
Yep.
Okay.
But we're just wanting the city, one, to think about it, give us permission to move forward with it.
And to pay for it, right?
I'm
You
sorry,
want the city to pay for it? Is that what you're at?
not necessarily. Since you own the business, per contract and per lease laws, we can't do anything, even setting up and getting estimates, without the city's approval.
And I'd like to see the proposal, whatever, previously has been submitted or what you can come up with now,
Yeah.
update that, and then we can have that conversation. I mean,
But this is my 13th year as chief, and ever since I've been chief, I keep having to tell people to live in Crittenden, where the Crittenden Fire Department is. Boy,
So are you talking about like
It's
right
the city
before
limit.
Case Chiropractic? Like right by that sidewalk?
I'm
As far as
sorry.
the location of the sign? Like which
Okay,
side?
if you look at the building itself,
Mm-hmm,
where the vehicles are parked versus what is considered the apron or the runway
right.
trucks, right smack dab in the middle between the parking and the runway,
Okay.
close to the road, but not impinging the sidewalk.
Well, all the details will be in a proposal that's submitted, and, you know, we can take a look at it. I'm not opposed to it, but I'd like to see what he's interested in doing.
Yeah, if you could get us just something that shows dimensions and where you want it and all that. sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Especially if you've already submitted it, that'd be great.
Yeah. Size of it and the whole deal. Yeah.
So just throwing that grenade out there and
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
Folks,
Yes.
excuse me, I've got to go.
Okay, there was, somebody moved to adjourn till.
I tried.
You tried. Greg tried to move to adjourn to.
Say thanks, Chief.
July 11th. Was that your motion? July 11th?
Sounds good.
Yes, because I'm not here.
Is there a second to that motion? Everybody seconded it. Everybody in favor? Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you, sir.